A lot of people think that connecting to your angels and guides is some huge deal and that there needs to be some massive shift in consciousness for it to happen. Like you need to light a candle and sit in meditation for hours on end while you just wait for a booming voice to appear. But the truth is, guidance is much more subtle and practical than that. If you're like me, your intuition could be so ingrained into your day-to-day life that you don't even really realize when you're getting a hit. It just feels as natural as your own thoughts. But there is a difference between having your intuition on autopilot and being very intentional with the information that you're receiving. Today, I want to talk to you about how to recognize that your support team is communicating with you and why acknowledging those hits changes how you navigate your day-to-day. Your non-physical support team, your angels, your guides, etc., they're not meant to be mystical. They're meant to be data points. One of the biggest questions we come across when we're developing intuition is, how do we know it's them and not just my own thoughts? But the reality is, when you receive information through words or thoughts, it's going to sound just like you. It's going to be in your own language, but the difference is going to be in the delivery. When your intuition or your spirit team is talking to you, it's almost like a random click. There's this random thought that just pops into your head. No context, no build-up, just the thought. Where when you are having your own thoughts, you're thinking about how to get from point A to point B and point B to point C. There's almost like a trail to follow. So when there's no trail to follow and it's just this random breadcrumb that lands in your lap, that is your intuitive team. Guidance from your team is like a shortcut. It's that sudden urge to check that document or pick up the phone and call your sister because she's popped in your head the past 3 times in the last hour. The lack of context or buildup is actually a clear sign that that is a hit from your spiritual team. When intuition is part of who you are, it's literally ingrained in you, it's easy to just treat your intuition like it's background noise. You get a hit, you act on it, you move on. But when you're treating it like background noise, it's almost like you're just running on autopilot. When we start consciously noticing these hits, we're not creating the connection. The connection is already there. We're just more aware of the conversation. It's like when you're in the store and it's the difference between hearing and noticing that there's background music playing on the speakers versus stopping and actually listening to the lyrics. And when you start listening to the lyrics, that's when you start to notice the patterns in how your team is supporting you. You go from someone who is just, maybe considered lucky because you're following your intuition versus someone who's actually co-creating and collaborating with their spiritual team. Now, the easiest and most practical way for you to move out of autopilot mode is to start acknowledging the hits. You don't need a ritual, you don't need a meditation room, you don't need some crazy hack. You just need to acknowledge it. So the next time you notice that little breadcrumb pop into your head, just acknowledge it. Say something like, I see you. This is you just verifying to your spirit team that you've received their message. You're both on the same frequency. You're both listening to the same radio station. It keeps the lines of communication clear, and it's almost like checking in with a teammate before you two move on to the next task. And remember, your intuition is like a muscle. So the more times that you spend acknowledging those little pings, the more likely you're going to feel prepared for when those big life events happen and you really need to depend on your intuition to help you navigate through them. Guidance and intuition is meant to be a seamless part of your day. That doesn't mean it isn't powerful. When you stop running on autopilot and start collaborating with your spiritual team, you're suddenly at a massive advantage in navigating your life. It takes the guesswork out of your big decisions and gives you a sense of knowing and comfort and certainty that's honestly life-changing. If you're ready to really dive in and identify how these shortcuts show up for you from your spirit team, then I encourage you to check out the Revive Your Intuition workbook. I designed it to be a practical roadmap to address everything that we've talked about today. So you can stop second guessing and start trusting your hits with total confidence. You can find the link for that right down in the description below. I'm Amanda, the intuitive wife, helping to make the spiritual more practical. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.